In today's video, we are going to be analyzing the precarious situation Azuki is finding itself after the mint of its Azuki Elements. What are the series of elements that led to the most anticipated NFT mint of 2023 to pretty much be a disaster? And what are the two things that we can learn as builders in the NFT space from this experience so we can build brands and products and services that make the Web3 space better? If this is the first time we meet, my name is Leon Aboud. I am the founder of Web3 growth consulting agency Unfungible.xyz. And through my 2 years in the Web3 space, I've had the honor of working with incredible brands, whether these are top 15 Web3 brands in the NFT space, according to NFT Inspect, or Web2 giants that are entering Web3. I've had the opportunity to working with the whole spectrum. And one reason I'm saying that is, although I have my share of experience with building brands in Web3, I do want to acknowledge that I respect and look up to the Azuki team to great levels. I myself, it is not a secret, I'm an Azuki holder. I'm part of the Azuki community. And although I may sound a little bit critical in today's video, and I do have to acknowledge that whatever the Azuki team has managed to build up until this point with the brand has been incredible, and it almost is impossible to changing an industry, to reshaping an industry. In their case, it is the Web3 industry and eventually anime industry. It's impossible to do that without committing a series of mistakes along the way, which we experienced one with the Azuki Elementals mint. But mistakes are only mistakes if we don't learn from them. So with that said, let's look at the wider picture. Let's look at the chessboard in front of us. See, what is it that happened? How did the Azuki team react to that? And from my own experience, from my own perspective, I'm going to be telling you what are the two biggest mistakes that happened that might not be something you've seen kind of explicitly stated on Twitter or on Discord, and what are the potential solutions and what can we learn from them. You've probably heard what happened. Azuki announces its Las Vegas event that is open for everyone, Azuki holders or not. People show up, one of the best organized Web3 events. The vibes were there, the energy was there. At the peak of the event, Zagabond drops a teaser video to the Azuki Elements and tells the entire Azuki community, check your wallets. And this triggers a 3-day countdown towards the mint of the Azuki Elements, which was for 2 Ethereum. It's a 20K collection. 10K were airdropped for free to the Azuki community. 10K were available for mint, with Azuki holders having the first 10-minute priority, then opening up to the Beans holders, and then going up on public mint. The day of the mint, I was sitting right here on this exact same table. I documented the whole process. It's my previous video if you haven't watched it yet. Mint is live, open the website, and I only get greeted with errors. Error after error. Unfortunately, the website is bugging. The rest of the community is facing the same issues. Anyways, collection mints out in the first 15 minutes after the launch, and this triggers a 3-hour countdown towards the reveal of the project. Some people are pissed that they weren't able to mint. Most are excited for the new chapter of Azuki. All they're waiting for now is the reveal. Now, this is where things take a delicate turn the moment reveal happens. Reveal happens and people get greeted with art that looks precariously similar to the original Azukis. And this is where we start seeing the community sentiment alongside the floor price of the original Azuki collection, as well as the floor price of the Azuki Elementals collection, go down, taking down with them Beans as well. And this is where things start. The community is confused. I'm confused as hell. If you were watching that video, you will see me reveal the actual NFT Elementals collection like right there on camera, and you're gonna see how for a second I was like, what am I looking at? This was the shared sentiment from the community. Confusion not only overtook the Discord of Azuki, but also the greater Web3. Because when the top players fall, they drag down the entire industry with them. And that's exactly how the community felt. That's exactly what happened. The whole space was confused, and the community was in need of the team to step up, come up, and communicate. And this is exactly what happened yesterday. Yesterday, the Azuki team organized a garden spaces on Discord reserved to the Discord Azuki community. And this is where they wanted to clarify some of the elements. I was there attending, listening in closely to the spaces for most of it. There were quite a couple points covered during that garden spaces. The first one is the rushed mint mechanism. The second one is how the elementals fit within the overall Azuki ecosystem, the similarities in art, the green bean that all Azuki holders were airdropped. Then we have the Azuki anime, where do the beans stand, and what are the next steps. The one element I'm going to be focused on in today's video is going to be the elementals and how they fit within the wider Azuki ecosystem, because that is the main point of conversation. Sure, mint bugged, not everyone was able to mint. That happens. It's okay. We learned from technical issues. The real strategy play, the real blunter on the chess move was the elementals art looking so similar to the OG art. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. In a nutshell, again, you can read the thread yourself, and I'm sure you can get your hands on the recordings of the spaces. Why the Azuki Elementals look so similar to the OGs was because the Azuki team was trying to do is give people more of what they wanted. And they wanted to make the recognizable Azuki character even more widely available, widely seen, therefore fortifying the ecosystem. And when they explained it that way, all of a sudden it started to make sense. Yes, obviously, you can have 10,000 profile pictures that represent the OG Azukis, maybe 4,000 unique holders. So that's only 4,000 people that can represent your brand. All of a sudden now with the Azuki Elements, you have 24, 30,000. You're opening up the IP for more people to see the trademark character of Azuki. And when the Azuki team put it that way, it made sense in the sense how they are trying to build a universe that transcends Web3. They are building an anime and they are trying to make their brand widely adopted mainstream. And then they went on to offer the community different options. Okay, here's what we can do for the Azuki Elementals. We're thinking of changing the backgrounds. We're thinking of adding this. We're thinking of doing that. Some of these proposals are going to go up for voting on the Azuki Discord. Personally, while we're here on this topic, if I can give my thoughts, I'm not with the idea of modifying anything. Number one, because it shows weakness from the part of the team. Stick to what you said. Give your community a good reason and they will come on board. And number two, it's expensive to rebuild art and it's going to take months. And by the time the people that are unhappy would have already left your ecosystem by 2, 3 months, 4 months that it's going to take for you to create new traits, for you to create new backgrounds, for you to create whatever it is. And this brings me, ladies and gentlemen, to the two things we can learn from this blunder, because this is nothing more than a blunder from the part of the Azuki team. And it's an expensive blunder simply because the higher you are, the stronger you fall. And this is exactly what happened to the Azuki team. Why do I say it's a blunder? Because the Web3 space was primed for Azuki's success. Everyone was rooting for Azuki. The sentiment was overall positive. Even at a 2 ETH mint price, people were okay with that because Azuki has over-delivered again and again and again. So all Azuki had to do was not to mess it up. And unfortunately, that is what happened. And the first thing I realized, having spent hours on the Azuki Discord, as well as looking at Twitter sentiment regarding the Azuki ecosystem, as well as the mint, is that lesson number one: if your product confuses your buyers don't buy. And this is a fundamental law of marketing. This is not anything specific to Web3. This is not anything new, genius, innovative. If your product confuses your prospects, the prospects don't buy. If you go to Walmart, if you go to Costco and you're trying to buy a steak knife to cut your steak, and all of a sudden you get greeted with these weird knives that almost look dangerous and you're not gonna know how to use them, you're gonna skip to the next one. And that's exactly what happened with Azuki. Azuki completely confused their entire ecosystem. They confused the entire Web3 space, and you cannot confuse your prospects, whether that's in Web 2 or whether that's in Web 3. Now the question is, why did they confuse their prospect? The main reason I believe this happened is because of a lack of proper communication. The way Azuki advertised the Azuki Elementals Mint was very simple, very creative, and very storytelling oriented. They organized a banger event, dropped a teaser to that, and then mint is life. There was very little explanation, there was very little details, and the prospect assumed that the product was also going to be simple to consume. It's a simple product, I'm buying an NFT that fits within the vision. But all of a sudden, people were greeted with a twin of their OG NFT collection. There's an Azuki Elementals that look exactly like my Azuki. Like they're the same, they're two twins. And this confused people. And it's only after the Azuki team came up and they were like, hey guys, like here's exactly what we were doing, that people were like, okay, why didn't you say that before? So that's the lesson number one. Do not confuse your prospects. And I mean, here's where the disappointment came, because I mean, come on. Didn't the Azuki team sit down around the round table and think like, okay, we're about to drop a very similar collection. The community might see this as a point of confusion. here's what we're gonna do to solve that, or here's how we're gonna communicate, or here's the extra steps we're gonna put in place. How did they assume that this is just gonna slide and people are gonna be like, amazing, we just have 20,000 new brothers and sisters that look exactly identical to us? No. So number one, don't confuse your prospects. Number two, building in the dark works, but it has its downsides. Building in the dark is something very popular in the NFT space. Azuki's team is very like that. You will only hear from the Azuki team for very important and critical moments. You're not going to see the founding team of Azuki come up on a random Twitter spaces on a random Sunday. You're not going to see random announcements on a regular basis. These people build in the dark. And it does help create the mystery, and it does help safeguard kind of the intellectual property and the trade secrets and everything that they're building. However, it does have its downside, because everything you ship all of a sudden out to the public is going to be scrutinized, because you only leak so much information from that bucket. You have a bucket and you only leak 1 or 2 droplets once in a while. People are going to take that and they are going to scrutinize that. Take in contrast, Frank D. God. Frank D. God, he is the loudest NFT founder I've ever seen. And he says it, I've messed up, I'm going to continue messing up, I'm going to continue making mistakes, but my goal is to try to make as little mistakes as possible that are as little costly as possible. Because he's so open, because he's so transparent, because he does so many things, people get accustomed to seeing the occasional mistakes and they get desensitized to that. It's not too dissimilar from Elon Musk when he acquired Twitter. He boldly said that Twitter for the next couple of months is going to be a shit show. There's going to be a shit show. Bear with me, please. That is lesson number 2. Building in the dark has its downsides. And a little bonus kind of thing we can learn from that. And this is me talking from personally experiencing the Twitter spaces yesterday. I was on, it was 10:30 p.m. for me. Past my bedtime, I stayed up for that spaces. And what I was hoping to get from the team wasn't really answered from me. I didn't really get what I was hoping to get, which is strong leadership come up and show up. In times of crisis, you need a Winston Churchill that's going to come up and is going to grab the bull by the horns. And that's unfortunately not what I got from the Discord spaces yesterday. What I felt we got was a lot of politically correct answers. Yes, we messed up. Here's what we were trying to do, but it didn't work out. And again, respect to the team. They were very transparent. They were very open. They were very honest. There was no like play on words to hide their intent. No. Very chill, very cool. What I was hoping to have was more future-pacing sentences. I was hoping to hear a little bit more strategy. Like, okay guys, here's exactly what we were hoping to accomplish with Azuki Elementals. We were hoping to drop this and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things are gonna happen, and then all of a sudden we are going to have the strongest IP brand in the world. Instead, what we got with the Azuki team was current situation, vision, and they were selling the vision. Like, we wanted to open up the garden for more people. Amazing, but what are the series of steps that are going to come in the meantime? How do we fill that middle? How do we fill the juicy bit of the burger in the middle with content, with value that we can rally the community around us? And honestly, as a closing thought, I would have loved to hear a little bit more doubling down on the Azuki Elementals collection. Yes, the community didn't take it right. This was a bad call on our communication. We messed up on this part. It's okay. But guess what? We're going to double down on the Azuki elements, because guess what? We're building for the next decade. And if you believe in Web3 technology that is going to be here in 10 years, then you're going to want to be with us, because we are about to disrupt Web3 and we're about to disrupt the anime industry. And these are my thoughts, what I would like to hear regarding the Azuki Elementals. Not uncertainty, not confusion from the part of the team. Doubling down on this. Yes, we've pulled this card. They look similar. It all is part of our bigger strategy. And we're gonna keep doubling down on that. So here are the 2.5 things we can learn from what just happened with Azuki, the blunder. Number 1, don't confuse your prospects, for God's sake. Number 2, building in the dark has its downside. Number 3, use future pacing to rally your community around you. Now, my personal thoughts, what is going to happen to the Azuki ecosystem? Obviously, not financial advice, no need to say that. I personally am still very bullish about Azuki. I proudly rock my Azuki profile picture on Twitter. I believe in what Azuki is building. The anime space is primed for disruption, and the way Azuki is doing it is incredible. I see so many community members that are monetizing the Azuki IP in so many different ways, whether they're selling skateboards, whether they're selling t-shirts, art, stickers, we're seeing the creation of a new business model, one that isn't possible without NFT technology. And Azuki is setting that. They are creating that new business model. And I'm very certain now, with the new money they've raised, almost $40 million, that this is only going to give them fuel to continue building on their vision, continue building on what is it they're trying to accomplish. Regarding the OG Azukis, so the first 10K collection, they're always going to be more valuable, but I do think it is going to take time. Rarity is always rewarded. However, now with the bigger Azuki ecosystem, now we have 30,000 Azukis, 20,000 beans. What that means is that we're going to need a lot more adoption into the ecosystem. And I do believe that is going to take time, especially considering right now that I think we have like 15, 20,000 daily active wallets in the NFT space during the bear market. So there's not a lot of people active, and we are going to need new people coming into Web3 or Azuki going to Web2 and onboarding these people into the Azuki ecosystem for us to see a lot more and a lot new demand on the Azukis. Because let's face it, yes, the Azuki OGs are always going to be in demand, but now they are pegged to the lowest hanging fruits, which are the Azuki Elementals, because these are the easiest in to the Azuki ecosystem. And a big reason why people buy NFTs, especially in the Web3 space, is for status and association. I definitely did. I'm a builder in Web3. I run a business, I network with people, and I want to be associated with the brand of Azuki. And that was a big part of why I decided to invest in this brand. Now people can rock the same PFP, they can associate themselves somewhat to the Azuki brand for 1/5 of the price. So that is going to be the new fate of Azuki. However, what I do have to acknowledge is that Azuki is playing the long-term game. It's playing the half a decade to a decade game. And I can't wait to see what these guys are going to be building. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got some value out of this. I hope you learned something from this. If you yourself are an NFT project founder or a Web2 business founder looking to enter the Web3 space, we could potentially help. All you need to do is click on the link in the description of this video so you can book a free 30-minute consultation call so we can learn more about you, how we can help you, and how you can get involved with us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, see you very soon. Love you all.